Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Here we are in Prehistoric Kingdom Alpha. My name is Swoop there, and we are just above the iguanodon habitat that I created last episode. You can just see the building, catch a glimpse of it here, and then this is the habitat here. It is very hidden, like I intended. Next to it, the Ceratosaurus Canyon, and then you can see the park extends right around where my mouse is, all the way up here. Over here is the entrance building, all the way back here to the resort back here. Goes all the way around to the Smilodon habitat over this way, Allosaurus habitat over here, and then all the way around to the back of the I can't remember which dinosaur I built this habitat for, I'm going to be honest, but it is here. It comes sort of to the edge here. So today I am going to build a habitat for the Ceratosaurus. I have looked up how to say it because I was saying Ceratosaurus and then I thought, that doesn't sound right. So it's pronounced correctly Ceratosaurus or Ceratosaurus. It is a large dinosaur, carnivore, and I kind of want to do something different this episode because we are coming to the end of this park and I haven't yet built any cave systems or any habitats where dinosaurs could potentially go down into a cave and maybe guests could view it from the cave. I don't know how that would work yet, whether or not I can have the cave under the ground because of the way that the current terraforming works, but I can definitely give it a try, have something different happening. So with that in mind, I am thinking I am going to do the habitat just here. The reason for that is I have a path that's coming this way, and I also have this path coming past the iguanodon habitat. Now I know I said that this was kind of going to be a habitat on its own, and if you were a dedicated guest you would walk all the way down here and really have a good look, but if we're being realistic, all parks and zoos really operate on loops. So if I put a pathway this way and kind of connect it up here, that's another loop that people could potentially do. So they end up on this loop, then they end up on this loop over here, then they can come back through to the main area of the park and end up on this loop over this way, and then there's one more loop that way. So there's 4 really big loops. This one would definitely be the biggest loop in the park. So without further ado, I think I will jump into a speed build. I'm pretty sure I'm going to voice over a little bit of the speed build so that you can hear a little bit about the Ceratosaurus, because I noticed that quite a few people enjoyed that last time, so I will do that this time as well. So I hope you enjoy, and I will see you on the other side of the speed build for the real-time part. Bye! Well, here we go guys, in the speed build, just clearing some of the land. I'm going to start off by saying that in this speed build I do, as you can see here, I'm trying to attempt to build something a little bit under the general ground level, and I was going to attempt to build a cave and then have the cave sort of viewing area, but I quickly realised that it wasn't going to work with the way that the current terraforming is set up, so I decided to abandon that idea and build a cave above the ground. I went in really large to begin with and then soon realised that it was probably a bit too big, so there are a few things in here that I do end up changing, so don't get attached to anything you're seeing currently because most of it does get changed. I also changed the colour of the rock and so on. I also, before I want to talk about the Ceratosaurus, I want to apologise for the amount of cuts in this speed build. It was a very crashy episode due to the amount of rock work that I did. The rocks are the things that tend to crash the game, along with lots of pieces at the moment, because I do have a lot of rocks in this build. So apologies for that. Hopefully it's not too noticeable. I tried to cut it in a way that you wouldn't be able to see it too much, but it is what it is. So let's talk about the Ceratosaurus. I was reading quite a lot about these dinosaurs because I'm quite interested in these kind of, I guess, large carnivores. I think they kind of look a little bit like the Allosaurus, but from what I read, they're actually a lot rarer than the Allosaurus. One of its most famous, or what it's most famed for, is its 3 horns, one on its snout, and then it has 2 above its eyes, which originally was believed to be a dangerous weapon that they used to attack herbivores or rivals. but recently they've concluded that the horns were actually too blunt and they were quite fragile to be used as weapons, so they were more likely to be like a display feature that helped it attract its mates. They had 4 fingered arms but that were short, and its fangs were some of the longest in comparison to its skull, which I actually thought was cool about these guys. I hope they do include them in Prehistoric Kingdom. I think they're going to, from what I can see of some of the artworks, original artworks. They have kind of already started to do some work on them, but they're not, as I'm aware, going to be in the early access. I also read a little bit about some of the things that it ate. So mostly it would prey on smaller herbivores. However, it does say that they could also be known to attack larger herbivores, including like the Triceratops. I looked up what its name means, and its name basically means horn lizard, from some of the Greek words keras and sauros. I hope I'm saying those right. I don't really know how to pronounce Greek words, but apologies to anyone that is Greek that has heard this. Feel free to correct me in the comments. But yeah, so there's some interesting facts about the Ceratosaurus. I did look up the kinds of places that they lived, and from what I can see, they actually lived in lots of, or I guess a variety of different biomes. But one picture that I did find, which I am going to put in here, I'm also going to put at the end in the real-time part, because I find a lot of people skip the speed build and go from the start real-time part to the end real-time part, which is totally fine. But I'm going to pop those in here, and I'll also put it in at the end. And this picture is kind of the one that I modelled the habitat off. I don't know if it's truly correct, but I have used that one. So also another thing that you can let me know in the comments if it isn't correct, because I know for sure that there are a lot more people that know a lot more about dinosaurs than I do. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to end my voiceover here. We're about halfway through the speed build at this stage. So enjoy the rest of the speed build, and I'll see you in the real time part. Bye. Rightio everyone, welcome back from the speed build. Here we are outside the Ceratosaurus habitat. I knew when I started building this that I was going to have crashes. I would have talked about it in the speed build a little bit as well, but I really wanted a lot of rock. And at the moment it seems to be like when I'm doing a lot of rock, which is obviously all the exterior of this habitat, it just crashes and crashes and crashes. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't that fun to build, to be honest, because I was in and out of the game about 10 times. But having said that, I'm quite happy with the way it turned out. So I did look up the kind of habitats that the Ceratosaurus would have been in. I'll put a picture in here to show you kind of what I modelled this habitat off. It turned out quite nicely, I guess. I mean, I haven't done many of these habitats in my park at all. Because we don't really have the amount of pieces that I would like to make them look super good, but I'm kind of happy with how this came out. So I do have 2 viewing experiences. This one is the outdoor experience. You come along and you can see most of this side of the habitat. I called it the valley because it it kind of goes up into a hill, but it's still like in a valley shape. And the Ceratosaurus can go all the way up this hill and down the other side, and there is no viewing opportunities in the back of the habitat. But there is a cave over here, which we'll go and see in a moment. But I'm quite happy with this. I like how the water looks. It kind of goes out of the habitat through the rocks on this side, you can see. So down over here. And then that's because there's a river on this side of the habitat coming through, and it kind of travels through the whole park. So this is kind of a little offshoot that you can see. I'm sorry you can't see any of the trees or bushes moving. I have paused it because I'm hoping that will help it not crash while I'm in my real-time walkthrough with you guys. So we've got this small, simple viewing area here. And then if we head down, you can see I've changed a lot of the terrain paint around this area because I wanted it to kind of mix in with the rock types, and I've also added a few different types of trees in here that I wouldn't normally put in the walking through areas. So let's head down and let's go into the main viewing area for the Ceratosaurus, which is up in here. So we'll head up through. Got some picnic benches here, you can see, reused some umbrellas that I've built previously, and then you have this little cave entrance. I've sort of what's the right word? Lined, I guess. I've lined the whole building, most of the building's roof and this side with concrete because I feel like that's probably a bit more realistic. But then as you come in here, you've got some planters. I tried to use plants that would thrive in low light conditions, which is obviously what this is. And then on this side, you've got an implied billboard here with where you would have lots of information about the Ceratosaurus, and then over here you've got an education facility where you might have keepers come and talk and the reason I put this here is because over here you've got like this little cave area, and the reason I put this viewing experience in here is because I kind of feel like in this habitat they would have these dinosaurs sort of laying eggs and looking after their babies in this area, like this would be their cave area where that would happen. So you would kind of be able to come in and look. I would like to think that this is sort of one-way glass, so that the dinosaurs can't see any of the guests, and this is just a wall to them, and the guests can kind of look down and see. I would probably also put some be quiet signs and so on here, but also if you are inside here, you do get quite a good look into the habitat, like a different view than the outdoor view. So what we'll do is we'll swing around and I'll show you what the habitat looks from the top. We'll just go back out the cave entrance and then we will head up into the sky. Don't mind the repetitive nature of that roof there. Okay, so here is the front part of the habitat that can be seen easily by the guests, and then I've left this walkway kind of free of trees and so on because I feel like the dinosaurs would use this area the most. And then this is the back area that is not visible to the guests whatsoever. So that, everyone, is the Ceratosaurus habitat. I hope you enjoyed watching the build. I can't tell you that I enjoyed making it, but I'm happy with how it turned out. So that's the main thing, isn't it? Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. If you have subscribed, you are a legend. It's really great to see people enjoying my content. It's okay if you don't enjoy it too. I actually really value constructive feedback. So if you want to give me any of that, feel free to drop it in the comments below. Otherwise, have a great day, night, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.